let me see. I think I forgot to grab my my notebook. Oops, I'm dropping stuff. Okay, so first off, I would like to thank my cousin for this bag because it is chock full of my latest reading material. It was kind of like it's full of stuff. All good things, all good things. So I talked to my functional medicine doctor yesterday, and I had to have time to process it, and I'm still kind of processing. Yeah, I'm processing. She had some stuff to say. So, according to, okay, let me think where to start, because I didn't really plan this so well. According to my blood work, the last blood work, it showed that my markers for autoimmune disease was elevated for like a connective tissue disease, and the allergy doctor said he thought I had lupus. I'm like, I don't think I have lupus. But whatever. Okay. So then my functional medicine doctor, nobody else has really talked about this number anymore. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess everything else is more important than that right now, because I already know I have autoimmune diseases. So I cheated and I ate chocolate, okay? And that's why I'm clearing my throat. I tried. I'm like, it was in my purse. Okay, so I cheated and I ate chocolate, and now I'm clearing my throat, but it was good. Okay, so my marker for autoimmune disease was elevated, and she said basically any other doctor that saw that would be concerned because it's like positive for an autoimmune disease, but she looked at it and she's like, oh yay, she's actually doing better than she was previously. So that's encouraging. So she had some encouraging news. Let's see, I wrote it down in my little notebook. My autoimmune marker was down some, reduced by like 50%. So she thought that was great, and I kind of think that's great too. And itchy too, chocolate. Sjogren's, my markers for that was lowered, which I saw, and I was like, oh, that's great. It's like dry eye, dry mouth, dry nose, dry mucous membranes, autoimmune disease, but I'm doing better there. I had some other numbers that were elevated, whatever. So she said basically my gut is not happy, and I have more bad bacteria and not enough good bacteria. I've been working on it, except when I eat chocolate sometimes. And my thyroid is tired, she said, because my number is, 1.3. So she wants to do a full thyroid panel check. So, I was telling her my symptoms, and I haven't shared my list of symptoms online because it's like 7 pages of history, and it's kind of overwhelming. And so she said that it was the most comprehensive history that she's ever seen written down, and that she was very thankful for it, and that she liked that about me because I'm good at, she said, for having such brain fog and all the issues that I'm suffering with, that I did a really good job with the history. I'm like, you don't understand, like, I was desperate. So I literally scrolled through Facebook and copied like the history of migraines and just mold exposure and all these reactions and stuff. And so she said it was the most comprehensive list she's ever seen. It's a lot. And then I was even adding more. I was adding more in the day of the appointment. I'm like, this and this and this. So anyway, she thinks that I have, let me see, because I wrote it down wrong in here. Mycotoxins, I think is what it's called, which is like, oh yeah, mycotoxin, which is mold in me, which we kind of already knew. And I've been saying, like, I remember going to the doctor and I'm like, I have this ear fullness and I think it's mold related. And the doctor is like, oh, let's get your ears checked. Let's get your eyes checked. Let's get all these other things checked. And I'm like, I think it's mold. I think it's mold. They thought I had MS. I'm like, I think it's mold. I think it's mold. And so, anyway, she thinks it's mycotoxins that are, she said specifically, like, you don't know the joy that bubbled up inside of me. She said, and this is silly that I'm so excited about it because it's like I'm like trying to figure out what in the world's wrong with me because I know something is seriously not okay. And she said specifically, she thought the mycotoxins were from mold exposure were activating the mycotoxins from the mold exposure or mold in my body was causing my mast cells to activate. I'm not crazy. Like, I knew I wasn't crazy, but it's kind of good. It's kind of good to hear like somebody that knows about this stuff to tell you what they think. As I was like listing off my crazy symptoms, sometimes I'll have GI symptoms, sometimes I'll have migraines, sometimes I'll have throat clearing and eye itching and just itching like crazy. And it's like, I can go in a store, if you've read my Facebook any amount of time, you can know I'm about to go into a store with my mask and everything. I can go into a store and they'll be baking bread and I'll be fine on the outside of the store. I'll walk into the store and I'm just like, woof, like I just dwindle. It's just like, I just like, and my brain gets foggy. So today is like day 2 that I'm maybe day 3, but kind of more likely day 2. Yesterday I was like, ooh, I'm having my own thoughts. And I can tell, like, watching old videos that I've posted, that I was not okay. Like, mentally talking. Even now, like, I'll still have moments where I'm like, I have another thought too, where I am reading and I'm like, I don't know how to say that word. And it's like something that is easily you can sound it out, but I'm just like, I don't know. But I forgot the other thought now. So anyway, mycotoxins due to mold, and she said it is critical. I'm at the critical point that I need a test to test for mycotoxins and metals, heavy metals. But I was telling her, and my thyroid tested too, and my blood type. She wants to know my blood type. Probably for a diet, because I'm like, I have to physically like be able to eat more food. I was eating grass-fed. This is like rant / talk / whatever. I was eating grass-fed beef, but it sometimes has too much histamine, and so I'm like reacting all the time. Or I'll make a soup with it, with water, not even bone broth, and it's like I don't know, I cook it as fast as I can to try to lessen the histamine, but it's like I'll eat it and then it's just, my energy just drains like a tub being emptied, but faster than that, I think, because I'll just go and lay down. Like, I can't survive like this, but it's affecting my life with not being able to really homeschool the kids. I was teaching subject-verb agreement the other day, and I kept saying the wrong words, and I'm sure my kids were so confused because I would say singular and plural, and then I'm like, no, like, that's plural, and that's plural, but this is an example, and I was just, like, so messed up, I was like, just, good luck, basically, because I'm like, I sound like a bumbling idiot. I can't even think of what in the world I want to say, and I can't even say it accurately anyway, so it's very frustrating when it's like what I was telling Jerry is, and I told her, I think too, is like, I feel like this must be what a dementia patient feels like, or Alzheimer's, because but I don't know exactly, because it's like I'll have days where I'm like, okay, my brain is good with a lot of pills. Like, I have to take a lot of doggone pills to help just get my brain kind of functioning. But it's like right now, I can't remember what I was saying, but I was telling Jerry that it's like I know where my brain should be, or where it was, and my energy level where it was, like with dancing all the time. I dance like 4 or 5 hours and still be ready to dance some more because it's fabulous. And now I'm like, one song every now and then is a lot. And my ears, like I feel dizzy because my ears still have some fluid in them. But it's like I'll have days where I'm like down mentally, like no thoughts in my head. It's very quiet. And normally my brain is like a musical. Like I always have a soundtrack playing in my mind. And so whenever it starts to get less foggy, I'll have more songs in my head, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize like that I didn't have music going on in my head. Now I do. Like, that's good. And I'm able to string thoughts together. Like, okay, today I need to do X, Y, Z. On foggy days, I'm like, nothing. I have no idea. Like, I'll get text messages. The other day I got a text message, and I thought the kids' homeschool teacher was ordering the books for me. I don't know why I thought that. Like, I physically need to go in and order the things, but I thought she was going to do it. And from the library. And then yesterday, like 2 weeks later, when Joshua was already supposed to have this book, I realized, oh shoot, she didn't order it. I was supposed to order it. Did I order it? I have no idea. So we might get 2 copies in the mail. I don't know. We'll just mail one back. But I'm like, don't rely on me to do anything because my brain is like incapable of organizing my thoughts and actually doing what I need to do. It's just like, what am I going to eat today? And then I fix that, and everybody else is like fending for themselves. And if you know me, I love to cook. I love to feed people. But lately it's just like, I can't even comprehend. I can't even fathom figuring out what anybody else can eat or should eat or cook it for them. And that's sad. So it's like physically affecting my daily living. And I don't like that at all. So anyway, when I was telling her my symptoms, she was like nodding in agreement. Yes, yes. Yes. And then she said, do you pass out? And I was like, well, that's an interesting question because I don't necessarily pass out, but I have these episodes where, and it's all so, it's just like whole body random craziness. So I'll have these episodes where I don't even have to really be doing anything. I could be standing, I could be sitting, it doesn't matter. And it's like my brain just powers off for like a split second. It just like, I feel like what I say it is like a short circuit or like a computer rebooting, where I will be sitting there and it's like my brain just powers down, and I feel like my eyes are open, but I see darkness, and I feel like my head is falling, but I don't actually feel my head falling. It just feels like it's like, and then it's like computer reboots and I'm back to normal. Like, I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's passing out, but that's what it is that happens, and that's how I explain it. It's like brain crazy. So anyway, I felt very heard and validated and confirmed that I even told this doctor, the PCP, that I have mold exposure and I know I have candida, but I don't know what to do about that. But then I was reading, because the doctor recommended, the functional medicine doctor, nobody ever knows what to do when I say I have mold exposure. They're just like, okay, because it's like not very, I don't know, researched, I guess, or understood. It's definitely not understood. So anyway, my functional medicine doctor said, have you heard of the book called Toxic? Which is what one at least, Julia, in my Facebook friend list, suggested, and I had ordered it, but I was reading the mast cell part, and so I didn't get to physically go look at the front of the part, the front of the book yet. And so I started, she's like, get that book and read it and start looking into mycotoxins, and I'm sure you'll be like, yes, 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 and it'll make more sense. So the first thing I Googled mycotoxins, and I Googled it, and then I read an article, and all I could do is like, this is pitiful, but it's like puzzle pieces being put together. Like there's an actual name for this crazy, and I'm not crazy. And that so describes me that all I could do is like giggle and kind of chuckle, because I'm like, and drop my jaw like, that's like what I experience. And so here I am reading this book, and it's about like mold exposure and Lyme and different things. And it's like, it's crazy. It's good information. So if you're having like crazy issues, read this book. If you have mold exposure and you're having interesting symptoms, it really, really helps to explain what's going on. And I was reading, that's like all highlighted because I read and I highlight as I read, and sometimes everything needs to be highlighted. But lately it's like I'm reading this, and this part is explaining how the biotoxin pathway, and it's explaining like how it all like cascades down, I guess would be a good way to put it. And the root is inflammation. And I've been telling Jerry, I'm like, I feel so inflamed. I'm so inflamed. Like I've gained a lot of weight lately, and I'm like, I haven't really done anything to gain a lot of weight. I'm eating kind of decently, but it's like something else is going on. And so anyway, this book talks about how it's like the inflammation, whatever gets turned on, switch gets turned on, and then your body just doesn't turn it off. I don't know, but I'm going to read and continue to learn and figure it out. And I'm going to have this test done. And I talked to my doctor, my PCP doctor, and I asked if she could order some of the thyroid test and the blood type test to see if she would order it, and that way insurance would pay for it because all this stuff is expensive. And she said they were going to schedule me an appointment today, but she said she didn't really need to talk to me again, just which test did I want her to order, and she would push them through. So I'm like, yay! She doesn't have to understand it. She just is like, okay, let's do this. So I haven't really heard that it went through yet, but I'm fairly confident that she's going to push the testing through. And if not, then we'll just go a different route. But she seems to be very kind and understanding and wanting to get to the bottom of the issue also. So there you have it. That, and I mentioned because I was supposed to have an appointment with Stanford, but because I didn't have an exact diagnosis yet, the Stanford refused to see me. So I'm like, shoot, what in the world am I going to do? And I was feeling kind of hopeless and just like, blah. There's a lot more to this. And so it was a very tough few days because I already wasn't feeling good. And then God brought some songs to my mind, which was like right on time. I figure God can get through the fog, right? But sometimes it's difficult. So anyway, he gave me a few songs. If you'd like to hear them or know what they are, I can share them. And then he brought a verse. Oh, well, I just felt like that. I don't even know if I'm on track anymore, but this is important. So it was, I don't know, a few days ago. I was looking at something that my brother shared and I was offering him some advice about a logo. And the story about Joshua was fighting a battle, and Moses said, to go fight the battle, or somebody, I don't know who said it, but somebody told Joshua to go fight the battle. And Moses went up on the hill, and he had to keep his staff in the air, and the Israelites would win. And they would be winning the war. And then if his staff was lowered, they would start losing the war. So Moses was holding his staff up, and Aaron and Hur were up there with him. And so Moses was so exhausted. His arms were so exhausted that Aaron and Hur grabbed a rock and brought it over to the hillside, whatever, where Moses could sit down. And then they held his arms up for him. And so it was just a beautiful picture in my little old mind of how, because sometimes with all this chronic system issue randomness, you feel very alone. Like, I'm very thankful that I have supportive, like my husband is very supportive, and the kids are supportive and understanding, and I have friends that are supportive and understanding, but sometimes you just feel very alone. And so, and not heard, because like, you say these things, but nobody knows what to do with it. And then you feel like you're whining if you're always like, oh, I don't feel good. And I'm normally not a negative person. I'm very bubbly and happy. But sometimes life just stinks. So anyway, those verses, it's Exodus chapter 17. It reminded me that I'm exhausted because I struggled. Like, okay, am I Joshua in the battle? Because I'm in a doggone battle for my brain and my body these days. Because the brain inflammation is no joke. It hurts and it's awful and foggy. I can't think straight. I can't do all kinds of things. So it's like, no, but I think I am more Moses because I'm so exhausted. Like, I'm physically exhausted. I'm emotionally exhausted. Whew. The last few days have been a lot better than before, but I'm just tired. And so it was a beautiful picture for me to think that I am not alone, and that I have friends and doctors that are actually on my team and are fighting to help support me and hold my hands up when I'm too tired to do it myself. I managed to say that without getting the tears to spill, so that's good. I think there was something else, but I forgot now. I don't know. I'll think about it later. Or I won't. I don't know. So, anyway, thank y'all very much for your support and love and kindness and understanding. And even if you don't understand, just thanks for praying. It means a lot. And sometimes, it's like, that's what I was telling Jerry too. I gave what helped me to get through after I went through the dentist appointment, and I had, it was like 5 weeks of pure awful brain fog. Probably longer than that, actually. But what got me through was when I physically had a good day for my brain. Like, my brain had a good day, and or a couple days, and not in a row, but scattered out. And I typed up that big old history, and I brought it to the doctor. And what helped me to get through was I mentally pictured that I was not alone, and that she at least had a copy of All My Crazy. And I envisioned her at home researching my craziness. Because I'm like, I don't know, because if I were a doctor and somebody came to me with all these random symptoms, I would probably neglect everybody else trying to figure out what was wrong with that one person. That's probably why I'm not a doctor. But it's like, okay, I had to just picture that somebody is out there and they know about my crazy, and they are hopefully researching and fighting for me. And then she did do some research when I was on the phone with her. But so, and if you're having issues with chronic illness or whatever, and need somebody to talk to or to vent, or just somebody to listen, I'm here, because I get it. It's exhausting. So anyway, that's all. I'm having a good day today, relatively speaking. Like, I'm actually laughing and happy and having some thoughts in order, and that's good. And I might have answers. And I think the process of eradicating the mold will be interesting, but it's necessary. Yeah. Okay. Y'all have a great night. Bye.